This is the Super Sports Schools podcast, bringing you stories of our future stars, powered by Spur Steak Ranchers.
1, 2, 3, go!
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Super Sports Schools podcast brought to you by Spur. I'm Alex White. Now, one of the fastest growing and biggest sports in Super Sports Schools is netball. And one of the highlights of the sports calendar for schools is the Wilderklaver tournament. And I'm here at the Absa Wilderklaver 2024 in Kimberley to chat to a coach and player from Stellenberg to find out a little bit more about what it's like to play at this incredible event, facing different schools that teams don't usually face, and what it is like to be a part of such a fast-growing sport and what we can expect for the future. That's the Super Sports Schools podcast. Enjoy. All right, guys, then welcome to the show. Thanks so much for joining us. Just to start off, we'll go down the line. Introduce yourselves.
My name is Lekanya Stofile, and I play in the under-16 netball team for Stellenberg High.
Hallo, my naam is Annika en ek is een van die onder 16 netball coaches by Stellenberg Hoërskool.
Thanks so much for joining us. We're at Absa Wilderklaver 2024. As we know, rugby, netball, football, one of the biggest sports tournaments probably in the world for schools, but definitely in South Africa. It's massive and across different age groups. What's it like being here? How's the tournament gone for you? Let's get some insight.
So day one went okay, but I think all of us got motivation to push and try to win this competition. It has been difficult and like the air and everything, so we have been struggling as well. And like our bodies, we are very tired, but I just feel like we pushed through and just tried to win it.
Ja, ek is nou al my tweede keer wat ek hier so is en dit is my 'n briljante toernooi en ek voel kinders kan groei en daar's actually development na die toernooi, soos hulle raak sterker spelers na die toernooi en kan letterlik dan enige kompetisie aanpak na hierdie. Ek voel dis een van die sterkste kompetisies wat ons het deur 'n jaar en dit is nou die tweede keer wat daar is vir onder 16. Maar ek voel ons goals het regtig soos great. Hulle het soos baie goed gespeel en ons is regtig verskriklik trots op hulle want hulle het 'n bietjie setbacks gehad. Maar hulle het opgestaan en terugbeklei.
I think it's very difficult when you come from the Western Cape all the way to Kimberley. I'm from the Western Cape. You're at altitude. It's winter, but it's hot and it's dry. Are those any other challenges that you face as well, or is it mainly adapting to a completely different environment compared to the Western Cape?
I'd say it was mostly adapting because it was a bit of a change for us, but I feel like we did pretty well after day one because then we adapted really quickly. So I think it was mainly adaptation.
Cool. And then once you'd adapted, obviously get into the swing of it. We know that netball is such a fast game. You're shooting from one side of the court to the other, so it can be fast, intense, and with this heat, obviously, like you say, that can make it a bit tougher. But along the way, hopefully there's also a bit of learning. You said under 16, so you can keep coming back for a few more years to come. What do you think the participants get out of being at this tournament and playing it against schools that you wouldn't normally play against?
I think all of us as players and individuals, we get to learn a lot, and also we get to grow stronger as teams as well, because there are a lot of setbacks, but I think all of that gives us motivation to stick together as a team and unite and even fight harder.
And what do you think as a coach, getting out as a coach, but also the players?
Ek weet nie eintlik hoe om die vraag te beantwoord nie, want elke span hanteer dit anderste en soos die spelers, soos ons het verskriklik baie beserings gehad. Ek dink ons het 9 spelers gehad wat beseer was en die kinders by die eerste dag was die kinders soos rarig, soos dit was vir hulle baie moeilik, maar hulle het opgestaan, teruggekom en dis asof hulle net vergeet hulle was beseer, want dit het vir hulle gegaan oor netbal en spanmaat. En die hele toernooi is ook iets anders vir hulle, want hulle is nou gewoond, hulle was juniors laas jaar en nou step hulle soos in seniors kant toe. En met hierdie toernooi is 'n baie goeie voorbereiding, want hulle het nou almal volgende naweek by skoolproewe. So ek voel soos as hulle nou hier wegstap, gaan hulle nou nog beter spelers wees individueel en nog sterker saam as 'n span. So die toernooie develop regtig die spelers.
And I think that you're under 16, it's such a good opportunity to develop as well, and that you can keep coming back and be here under 19 as well. And we know that Wilderkloof obviously started with rugby, but it's grown to include netball, football, and there's this huge sporting community that comes up to Kimberley. But netball itself as a sport has been growing a lot in the last few years within schools. I think last year with the World Cup, that obviously gave it a big boost. But when you play against new schools that you haven't played against before and that you see netball in different ways and different teams obviously play in different styles, are you always learning new things? And you think that now as netball grows, there's more of that?
Ja, ek glo dit gaan nog baie meer. Ek meen is nou baie meer fisies ook. So dis nie niemand kan vir my sê dis nie 'n kontaksport.
I was going to say that. I always get told it's not a contact sport. It definitely
Dis
is.
definitief meer fisies en ek meen soos mense kan nie eintlik amper blameer daarvoor nie want ek meen kinders speel net soos wat hulle toegelaat word om te speel. So die game kan in kontrole gehou word of iemand gaan kontrole verloor by die game. En dan gaan dit net soos al hoe erger raak. So ons het 'n bietjie van dit gehad, maar ek dink na ons afwiestoernooi wat ons ook teen van hierdie skole gespeel het, hierdie girls klaar bietjie van daai bietjie meer fisiese games gehad. En so hulle was voorberei vir hierdie toernooi.
And coming all this way to Kimberley, did you come by plane, bus? So it's a nice long trip for everyone to get to know each other. Touring as a group, or does that make the team closer, I'd imagine? Or everyone annoys each other so much that you grow further apart?
I think we do get annoyed with each other because we've been together for 3 years now. But I think every single day we learn something new about each other and we just grow together even closer.
No, that's great. And touring as a squad, what are some of the things that are different about that as opposed to just playing a game on a weekend or in the week at home?
I think we just get to spend time together, more often. And like especially if it's long day tours, then I think that really helps us grow closer and just spend time with each other more because I don't think we really see each other if it's outside of netball besides at school. So I think tours really bring us together as a team.
No, that's fantastic. And you also obviously get, when you're here, to talk to other schools, meet new people as coaches and as players. So how's that gone for both of you?
Kyk, ons het nou al 'n paar skole gehad. Ek meen ons het daar's 2 skole wat ons by afwies gespeel het wat ons actually verloor het in hierdie toernooi. En daai girls het met ander games het hulle vir ons kom ondersteun nog steeds. So ek moet sê dit speel vir ons is dit baie spesiaal want dit beteken hulle doen iets reg as spelers dat ander spanne van hulle wel hou en vice versa. Soos ons sal ook vir ander spelers en spanne sê soos sterkte en ons skiet hand na die tyd en soos op die baan is ons nie maas nie, maar van die baan af leer jy so baie mense ken en dis vriendskappe wat lank hou na die tyd.
For you the same, yeah. And I think as we've been seeing netball grow, there's going to be more of that, which I think is really exciting. It's a part of sport that you can go at each other on the field, on the court, and then afterwards be friends, learn about each other, meet new people, which I think is fantastic. But let's talk about on the court. We've spoken a bit that it's obviously sometimes a bit of a contact sport. I've already said it's very fast, it's action-packed. There's something always happening. The scores are constantly ticking over and you have to stay in the game. I don't think, watching from the outside, that you often get a moment to breathe. It's just intense all the time. So as a team, what's the message when you go in? What are you thinking? I don't even think you have time to think, but what is kind of the aim when you go into a match when it's a school you might not have played before? What are you looking to do? How are you going to assert yourselves into that match?
So as a team, we just take it as it comes, especially if it's teams that we've never faced before. So we just go on the court and just give it our all because we don't know how they play, but we just try to stick to our own game and just give it our all.
Same for you from the coaching side, yeah?
Ons sal net gewoonlik vir hulle sê, soos vat ons as hy kom, analiseer jou speler in die eerste 2 afgooi, want jy kan sien wat daai speler doen in daai eerste 2 afgooi, hoe voer hulle, van waar voer hulle, hoe kom hulle uit hardloop hulle lyne. So jy kan in haar eerste 2 afgooie sien wat hulle doen en net aanpas by dit, maar hulle moet net bly by hulle eie gameplan want niemand speel dieselfde nie. En jy kan nie iemand anders se game speel nie want jy is nie getrain om dit te doen nie. En hulle is nie getrain om te doen wat ons doen nie. Maar mens kan aanpas by die game en hulle game dalk begin speel en hulle wen met hulle eie game.
And I know you spoke earlier about facing setbacks this week, aiming to win, facing setbacks, but you've finished third, if I'm not mistaken, which is still against so many schools is fantastic. And only the second time we've had under 16s at Wilderklove, like you were saying earlier. So obviously something has still gone right that you've been able to pull a result that, and yeah, all the teams below you haven't been able to do. So when you come back next year, I don't know if you'll be back next year under 19. How in netball, is there age gaps between, or does it go 16 then 19?
16, 17, 18.
Okay, so there are age groups in
But
between.
we have top schools as well.
Yeah.
En soos Wilderklove is 'n uitnodigingstoernooi. So jy moet basically by topskole deelneem om genooi te word.
Yeah.
So ja,
So it could be.
so
it could be interesting.
hopelik,
Yeah.
so
But-
hopelik.
So then, if you are able to come back, what do you think are the learnings that you'll bring next time?
Die onder 16 van volgende jaar.
Yeah. So from a coaching point of view, and I mean, you've also got learnings you can take into other tournaments as well.
Men hulle kan nog volgende jaar dit 'n go gee en dan hulle kan van volgende jaar af eerste span speel. So dan sit dit ek voel daar's 'n kans wat baie van hulle kan opgetrek word. Hulle is briljante spelers, individueel en as 'n span. Maar ons het ook briljante spelers by die huis ook. So dis lekker as 'n bietjie kompetisie is. En so ek weet nie, ons onder 16 van hierdie, onder 15 van hierdie jaar is ook redelik in die mix. So ons het nou maar sien, is ons net 2 wat deur gaan kyk ons sê toe. So wat ook al gebeur, ons glo vertrou in ons onder 15s van hierdie jaar om dit deur te trek.
Okay, cool. And obviously, coming third this week, you've played quite a bit of netball, met people. We've spoken about all of that. But what are your highlights from the week? Anything that stands out, a special moment? Doesn't necessarily have had to happen on the court, but something that you know you're going to take from this week.
I think the game we played first yesterday, the first game. Dus ons het 2 games, ons het 1 game gewen met die eerste dag en 2 verloor. En hulle was baie emosioneel want hulle was seer en moeg en goeders en toe wen ons actually die span wat die toernooi gewen het die volgende oggend eerste. En ek dink net soos dit was wel is net soos 'n groot oomblik waar hulle net vir mekaar gespeel het en op mekaar begin spring het en huil het en ek dink ons almal was in trane want dit was net soos dit is moeilik om van onder af weer boontoe te kom nadat jy klaar van bo af onder toe geval het. So ek dink dit was 'n baie spesiale oomblik en ook baie lekker. Ons wil net ook vir hulle baie geluk sê met hulle wen. Ook briljante spelers. Even Gums, uitstekende speler. Dis lekker kompetisie.
It's always good to have good competition. Helps make you better,
They do.
build those rivalries, which is fantastic. Any moments for you?
I would also say it was the first match that we won day 2 against Shamoya, and they were also a really good team. Congratulations to them. I think winning that game just gave us a big boost to push and just win the rest like we did. So I just think we just gave it our all after that.
That's fantastic. I think for anybody watching or listening, the thing I get a lot from when I hear netball players and coaches talk about playing is the teamwork firstly and the camaraderie the team has and how much you do have to trust each other, work together because it's so fast and action-packed. But then also the connections with players from other teams supporting each other. And I think we see that in hockey as well, but it's very cool to see in our school sport. But if you had to be ambassadors for the game, to sell it to someone who doesn't play netball, who might be interested in playing netball, who maybe watched the Netball World Cup last year and thought, I want to be like them, what are some of the benefits that you see in netball and why do you play it and why do you coach it?
I play netball because I love the sport and it's a really fun sport. So to whoever wants to play netball, go for it, enjoy it. It will be the best decision of your life, and netball just helps you grow and learn, and you get to know more about yourself as well as a person. So just go for it.
Ja, en ek wil sê dat ek het self gespeel en jy moet 'n passie hê vir iets. Jy moet ingaan met daai passie en soos ek sê altyd vir hulle ook soos onthou hoe kom jy die eerste keer begin speel het, soos die klein dogtertjie was. Soos jy het begin en jy dadelik lief geraak daarvoor en jy het net aanhou sonder dat jy weet jy het aangehou. En soos die kinders wat soos ek sal altyd vir mense sê maar soos as jy dit wil doen dit net. Soos moenie gaan vra soos hoekom moet ek begin of soos ek gaan net positief goed oor netbal sê om vir iemand te swaai om dit dalk te probeer. Want as jy nie probeer nie gaan jy nooit weet nie. So dit is nogals baie belangrik, maar die manier hoe jy dit verkoop aan iemand is ook baie belangrik want jy kan nou nie hierso nou byvoorbeeld net op jou kinders geskree het en dan nou hier aan die kant vir 'n ander kind probeer sê maar kom speel net al met my, maar die kind is eintlik bang. So jy moet sag wees met die wat wil kom en hulle eers help en nie net in die diep kant ingooi nie, jy moet hulle fisies leer soos wat jy 'n kleintjie sou leer. So ja, mens moet sag wees met daai mense en jy moet net eers goeie goedjies sê, maar tog wanneer hulle nou beter raak en dan as hulle foute maak dit uitwys en vir hulle reg help. En nie net daar gooi en sê kom speel.
Bringing you the sport you care about the most, this is the Super Sports Schools Podcast.
Come on, wake up now. Who got zombie? Wake up now. Sequilatos Scott. Wake up now. Who got my singing? Get up and go.
With 15 delicious breakfasts, Spur is the place to be until 11 every morning. Enjoy an unreal breakfast for just $56.90. Spur, people with a taste for life.
Wake up now. Come on. Yeah.
You know, it was a good, solid 4-quarter performance, and I think we did well to just wrap it up and bring the win home.
My team really put out a good fight. We drove, we kept on driving, we jumped for every ball, we contested every ball. We put our all onto that court, and I'm so glad we came across successful.
The results did not go our way, but it was a good game to see what we'll get at the district league championships.
We put on a good fight. We were running, we were driving. It was just a few silly mistakes, but we were able to get over them in the last quarter. So yeah. We really worked on our individual selves and trying to put our best foot forward for the game and then coming together cohesively as a team.
We didn't do too badly today. We knew that it was going to be a tough game because we know how good Saints are, but we were ready to come out here and give them a good game, so we think we did well.
Bringing you the sport you care about the most, this is the Super Sports Schools Podcast.
And then I have a question which is usually either the hardest or the easiest question because sometimes people just know what they want to say. But I often ask, if you had to tell somebody something about netball that they might not know, what would that be? So something in netball that might be interesting to someone who sort of watches but doesn't really know everything about the sport, something you can do, can't do, an interesting fact somewhere out there, putting you on the spot to think of something.
Kan ek eers iets sê?
Yeah.
Kan ek iets praat oor 'n posisie?
Yeah.
Like, I know, ek weet daar's klomp coaches wat 'n speler wat nog nie kan speel nie op wing defense gooi, want dis vir my is dit die beste angle van die baan. En dis die mees underrated speler op die baan. Want sy vat nie noodwendig balle af en maar sy druk die AV uit die game uit, sit pressure op die bal en die ander verdedigers lyk goed agter. En almal dink soos jy moet 'n bal afvat op VV, maar dit is nie so nie, maar dit is regtig die beste view op die baan veral as jy leer. Vir my as jy leer netbal speel.
Yeah, brilliant.
I agree, but also I feel like goal defense is one of the most difficult positions in netball because you must be fit and it's like you're running around and then you still have to go back to the circle, jump for the ball, protect the post. So goal defense is a really tough position, but all of the positions are great.
And you play?
Goal defense, goalkeeper.
Okay, cool. So you're speaking from experience then. I thought you might be, but that's great. For you guys, for the school going into the future, what are the goals? Were you hoping to have your netball in the next couple of months? Any highlights coming up?
Top schools.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
of course. Yes.
Ek dink ons hoogtepunt is vir al ons spanne om deur te gaan top skole toe. Dus dit is Dit is die main goal. Want mens wil hê jou spanne moet goed doen. Jy wil jou skool verteenwoordig en trots maak. So ek meen dis voorbereiding en hardoefening en dis net die goals deurtrek en positief hou regdeur om die job klaar te maak.
Yeah, agreed. I think so. Even I would agree. I think it's always the pinnacle for everybody. So absolutely. And then just lastly, to end off, any words of encouragement for anybody who's going to come to this tournament next year for the first time, who's going to be at Absa Balaklava 2025?
I would just say, don't be scared or don't fear. Just put your trust in the Lord and just give it your all.
Ek sal sê, jy moet jou groot meisie skoene aantrek. Is nie nou tyd om jouself te kom jammer kry op hierdie toernooi nie. Jy moet met alles kom of anders moet jy maar net by die huis bly, maar moenie kom om te kom speel en nie kom om soos hard te speel. Soos jy kan nie, soos ek voel net dis 'n briljante toernooi en hier is nie 'n maklike span nie. Hier is nie, dis net harde werk en voorbereiding. So jy moet all of nothing.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Dankie.
I'm Zanele Mdodana. I'm the head coach of Stellenbosch University, and I'm also an analyst for Supersport at the Netball World Cup. Netball is a sport that opened doors for me at a very young age, and it put me on platforms that I never thought I would find myself on. I mean, I'm sitting talking to you now, and I'm on the world stage because of netball, and I'm meeting people that I will build relationships with forever. And I can get to experience other countries because of netball, and also because netball is it's well on its way of becoming a professional sporting code in our country. We see what the Spa Protests have done. You know, that we had contracted players. So we are heading towards netball becoming a career for a young girl, where that's what you do and you get paid to do what you love. And that's also going to help us to become very competitive against the top teams that are playing netball at a professional level. So it's a sport. You can play it recreationally, you can play it competitively, and it's, I think, arguably the cheapest sport, really, because I mean, you need a ball. Yes, you do need netball shoes, but facilities there and you can get going. It's not like necessarily like cricket where you need a lot of equipment to play. And I think a lot of work has been done to just profile how big netball actually is in our country. And every little girl plays netball. So it's just about saying, keep going, keep playing. Doors are opening. Things are changing. Things are becoming better. And this is a sport that you can one day see becoming a professional code in our country.
Thanks so much for joining me for another episode of the Super Sport Schools podcast brought to you by Spur. I'll see you next time. But for now, bye-bye.
This has been the Super Sport Schools podcast, bringing you stories of our future stars, powered by Spur Steak Ranches.
And now the podcast